For all of you that have been to a more recent program, this beautiful setup back here, say ooh, say ah. This right here is called the empowerment process. It is now the main foundational component of everything we do within the curriculum. This was designed by QLG, and obviously being the empowerment process, Empowerment Institute came from this being its foundational part. The beauty is over the past 8 months, we've taken this from, I would say, a preliminary state to a place where when Brian over at WASC saw the entirety of it, he actually started questioning, is there a way for him to move forward with doing this curriculum as someone who would be trained in it and train others? So when we have the backing like that from WASC, it's super motivating and speaks highly of everything that we're doing. And since none of us have seen this in its entirety yet, we get to today. At the bottom, we've got the 8 keys of excellence. Keys open doors, keys open doors, keys open doors, keys open doors. And you'll notice that all of the keys now have a beautiful icon right here where you would have the keyhole. What we noticed about the 8 keys of excellence is past generations, when we said, let's show integrity, they were willing to go and figure it out and kind of dig through what they needed to in order to learn how to show integrity. Generations now being used to getting information instantaneously, hey Siri, hey Google, are not as willing to go dig through the mud or take as much time. They want that how information more quickly. And as we were looking at the keys, we noticed that this is what. Every single one of the keys is a what. And we, with SED, needed to show them how. And we needed to be very explicit with the how. So quite quickly, integrity. We all know integrity is our values and our actions coming together and us doing what is right based on those values, showing it within our actions. What we noticed is they didn't know how to show that. So the essential element, and there's one for each key, for integrity is voice. Voice is the verbal and nonverbal messages that we're sending to the world about what our integrity is for us internally. So the what is integrity. How we do that is through verbal and nonverbal voice. And you all have no idea how long it took me to get these up to Impeccable's standard of posting keys on the wall. Failure leads to success is looking at failure and using it as feed forward to move us into learning from our mistakes. We've noticed a lot of people have focused just on the word failure. Oh, you're telling my kid they fail. No, we're saying that your student loves to learn from mistakes. Well, no, quit calling them a failure. Yes, they did make a mistake, and this is the what. How do we do that? The essential element is efficacy. The belief in your ability and the ability of people around you. Unless we can show them how to understand and believe in their ability, they don't have the capacity to look at that failure as feed forward. They just look at it as failure. So efficacy and skills in how to build your own efficacy are part of the SED connection to failure leads to success. Speak with good purpose, speaking honestly and kindly. What we noticed is I can speak super honestly and kindly to someone and not take into account anything empathy being the essential element of how I'm talking to this other human. Just because it's honestly and kindly doesn't mean that I shouldn't stop and try and put myself in their shoes. Honestly and kindly with empathy. This is it. When my 15-year-old, I can't believe he's 15, holy moly. When my 15-year-old comes home on Wednesday night, there's a test Thursday during school. The first thing I do when he walks through the door is start hounding him about studying for this test. This is it, also known as YOLO, which is not you only live once thought around this is it. To him right now, walking through the door after a day of school, his reality is not, I want to go study for a test. His reality is, I need to go get a snack because I eat mom and dad out of house and home. I need to go to the park and shoot some basketball. I need a break. Driving force goes with this is it, because unless we understand what the student's driving force is, we cannot help guide them to how to have the best this is it moment. If I know his driving force is to decompress, relieve some stress, do those things, I need to support making sure that driving force is taken care of. So the next driving force could be studying for the test. Commitment. We're always green and growing. That goes with resilience. A lot of people do not have resilience. It's talked about so often, but we do not currently give students enough skills for building their own resilience. We can't expect them to stick through an entire commitment, especially one they probably don't like, if we do not show them how to be a resilient human. Ownership, the essential element is authenticity. Ownership is taking ownership or owning one's actions. This is also one's beliefs. It's also owning one's true core of who they are. If we do not know and can't help them determine who they authentically are at their core, asking them to take ownership or guiding them to make the best decisions possible so they don't have to take ownership for just mistakes. If they do not know who they authentically are at their core, we cannot guide them. We don't know how to help them own a mistake or even own the choices before the mistake, so the mistakes become less. Flexibility goes with respondability. We've noticed that flexibility has become an in the moment key. Oh, a problem comes up. I'm going to think creatively. I'm going to break paradigms. Flexibility has to be more than that. Flexibility is something that when we are driving down the road and it comes to the fork in the road, flexibility is I can respond or I can react. I can go A or I can go B. Both have cost and benefits, and we need them to understand they have the ability to press pause and respond to the situation and not just use emotional reactions. And the last key is balance. The essential element is awareness. If we tell someone balance is making time for all these important parts of your life, but they have no awareness about what those are, how are they supposed to balance their life? How can they have that understanding if they do not have that awareness of what they need to put focus on and what really is important for them? So again, the keys are timeless all the time. They can be here and they've supported generation. I mean, honestly, they've supported 43 years of people coming to our programs. And now we have to elevate them. And the essential element shows what the key is and then gives us the how action step of actually being there and living it. Whew. Y'all, I'm trying to get all this into 20 minutes. Okay. What questions may I answer, clarities may I provide before we go to this beautiful thing right here?
Carry on.
And okay, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, and Dr. Beasley's smiling, and that is her cue to always go. All right, this right here, these three simple squares are everything we need to know about social emotional development and human psyche. That's a big statement. And here we go. This very center blue box, and I know all of our intelligent humans in this room right now, every single one of you have already said, oh, they match. Yes. Who are you at your core? And again, the icon for the essential element of authenticity. Who are you at your core, the very center of your being? It's beliefs, it's values, it's actions, it's your thought process, it's that internal dialogue, it's everything that makes you the amazing you that you are. This dashed line shows us that we have to have a way to get from one spot to another, one level of development to the next. When we leave our core, we step into this incredible place of discovery. Essential element, of course, resilience going with commitment. We step into discovery, and for some of us, and especially depending on situation, that is a very exciting thing to do. For other people, depending on their experiences and the situation, this could be terrifying. So there's a couple ways we can go. The first one is in this high road where we go from our information input, everything is calm, we feel safe, support, belonging, and we get to go into this high road where we do two things. We get to access our schema, everything we already know. This is what I know about how to be successful. This is what I know about who I am. This is what I know about navigating what I'm doing right now. Oh my gosh, I'm short. Once we've assessed schema, we move into this beautiful place of learning. Now I know what I know what I don't know, and now that I have that as priming my mind or priming my brain to be successful, I get to step into this beautiful spot of learning. Again, all of this goes with commitment and resilience because learning is not easy. Taking a look at yourself to assess schema could be very threatening and nerve-wracking for people. So it takes that resilience and commitment to stay in that high road. Once we've moved through these beautiful dashy lines, we've stepped from discovery into where we want to be, which is growth. This is where we are gaining new awareness so we can have balance. Woo! Core to discovery to high road to schema to learning to growth to what we're really doing with social emotional development, helping them grow, discover, and take back to their core their why. Their why identity is the beautiful ending of every single thing that we do. What's your why? Everybody's got a why for being in this room. All of us have a why for the jobs we do. And we've gained that by this continual cycle of core discovery and growth to build our why. I don't know who thought to put this up high. My husband put that tape up, by the way. Little Shorty did not. What questions may I answer about the high road? Ah, goody, goody, goody. So if we have a high road, then unfortunately we have a low road. Information goes in. In our core right now, we've processed information and we are not in a state of being able to assess schema and learn. This is where things start to tumble. This is where we get into this cyclical nature of looking at failure as failure or not making the most of every moment. And we all know that we love crazy acronyms and made up words. The first thing that happens when we start to go into our low road is FIMage, a fear of our image, a fear of what other people are thinking about us, fear that we're going to fail, fear of, you put it in there. That fear comes in first, which inevitably, unless we have found a way to go from FIMage back to our core and get ourselves back on track, this FIMage leads to an amygdala flood, that itty bitty living space in our brain responsible for fight, flight, fawn, friend, freeze, foe. And there's probably like 6 other ones that go with it because they add to it every day. When that amygdala floods, all of the beautiful processing in the prefrontal cortex stops, and we go into fight, flight, fawn, freeze, friend, foe. There is not a dashed line in between low road and getting to growth because it's really not possible. We're not getting high road growth, building to our identity, if our brain is constantly in this cycle of what we call low road behaviors. Purple on the screen, I know it might look a different color. It really is purple. Once we have been stuck in this cycle, I'm afraid of what people are going to think of me. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I'm going to fail. People are going to think I'm stupid. I'm not going to be liked. Our amygdala starts flooding, and then we go back to our core. Negative internal dialogue. We start making excuses, laying blame, lying, denying. We step back into discovery in these low road behaviors. We're automatically going down into this low road and keeping ourselves in this self-destructive cycle where we're not building growth and identity. Eventually, there's cracks that form, and we end up moving into this space of ego. And it's not ego as in I feel good about myself. It's ego that looks more like being egotistical. It's all about you. Me, only me. I'm going to get mine. And then eventually, once they've done that enough, we have trauma. It could be short-term trauma, long-term trauma. It could be from a single incident. It could be building and building and building. But it builds the trauma. Our amygdala gets so used to being flooded, fight, flight, fawn, freeze, friend, foe, that trauma is that outcome. If we think about people we know, and if you are in a classroom right now or work with young people, you can see where this cycle just continues to happen. And when these cracks in who we are happen, they get to here and the trauma floods in. And then they're just stuck. They're stuck. They don't know what to do. They can't dig themselves out. Everything bad always happens to them. Poor me. I'm the victim. All of these things that are holding them back. What we do with social emotional development is build their awareness of this, and then we move into a reset. How can we, using empathy, internal dialogue, and the things we say, reset ourselves and get ourselves back to our core and start to focus on pressing pause for respondability? How can I respond versus react? The FIMage, the amygdala flood, our reactions to what's going on. The egotistical behavior and low road behaviors are from the process of that cyclical low roading, but we've got to give them the strategies to press pause and respond. Because when they've got the opportunity to respond and they have the skills to come to that fork in the road and respond versus react, that is where they can align and get into the high road behaviors that they're looking for. And that's when we really make sure that the messages they're sending with that voice, verbal and nonverbal, are aligned with their integrity. So when they step back into this beautiful place of discovery, the messages they're sending to the world are truly who they are and their best self. The empowerment process is done at every program we do. The new curriculum we have focuses on this in a classroom setting. We have it for kindergarten through second grade. We have it for elementary school, so third through fifth. We have it for middle school, high school, and we have 3 levels of all of it, so it meets all MTSS standards. This is everything we need to know about social emotional development and how to support these young people. We even have a level for people who are considered repeat offenders and or need to go back into a school setting, or even from some type of juvenile or incarceration and re-enter into the world again in a way that they can focus on being their best self. You notice that every single key is included in here on purpose, and every single essential element shows us how we can get them to live the what of the keys. This is what we do. This is why you're here. And this is why IPMI needs these people that are in the room. We have new curriculum and programming. Impeccable. I think I can do it from here. We shall see. One thing you will learn very quickly about me is that impeccable is my right hand, my left hand, and my brain most days. And if you don't have an impeccable, you should get one. And I lovingly say that you can't have mine. So our new WASC accredited programming is based off of MTSS. It's got the evidence-based multi-tiered ripple effect, where we build awareness, then we work with them on implementation. We then have them buddying up and getting to the embodiment part of the skills that they're learning, and they move into model of mastery of the skills that they're doing for SED. We have a really cool new website, and if you haven't checked it out, you should. We have 4 programs that we are launching right now. Activate for schools. Notice the icon. It's brilliant. If you even start, I'm so excited. If you start at the top of the 8 at 12 o'clock, you'll notice that it goes core, discovery, and then into a solid line of growth, solid line. It matches the lines here, and it is in the order that you would facilitate or receive the information in our program. It's the little things I geek out on. Thank you for listening. The Cultivate program is educators. Sorry. I have to tell you about these programs because they're super cool. Activate, again, has the different levels. Teachers get trained in the curriculum. They then get that certification level with the curriculum, and then they can go to tier 2 training and tier 3 training. The educator program is called Cultivate. Cultivate does not include Activate. Cultivate is strictly educator focused on how to have the best social emotional development, bringing together the culture and cognition within a classroom. Integrate is our workplace program, social emotional development for the workplace. And Navigate is our family program, how to navigate life as a family. And then, of course, we will always have Super Camp, which is the residential part of all of the other programs. Activate is a school program, so it is not residential. Very similar curriculum. The difference is the format it's presented in. This is the new IPMI and what we have been working on for the past 8 months.